What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is September 2nd today, which means that I have entered full-on fall mode. And to celebrate full-on fall mode, I have picked up my first fall eyeshadow palette of the year. This is the ColourPop Exes and Ohs eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to be doing 2 looks with this today. If you could drink a pumpkin spice latte, I can do fall looks, okay? That's the deal. I always wind up saying this around this time of year, but I cannot get into pumpkin spice lattes, man. I just can't do it. I think it's just too much sugar. Like, I don't really drink sweetened coffee, so like that's like a little extreme for my taste buds, you know what I mean? But you know what I do love is a triple dirty chai latte. The spice, the deliciousness. Oh, maybe I'll get one of those today after I finish filming this. Now, today with this palette, I am going to be doing 2 looks, and you may be asking yourself, Nicole, you usually do 3 looks. Does that mean that this palette sucks a pile of balls? Well, first of all, I'm gonna do a little bit of a review at the end of the video, so if you're interested in that, I will timestamp that down below as well. Long story short, it's not because I think this palette sucks. The actual reason is because A, I didn't have a ton of time this week to crank out another 3 looks video, and B, sometimes with these monochromatic palettes, even if I can figure out like 50 looks that I might do on my own and see differences in them, I feel like in a video, because the colors are so similar, doing 3 or 4 looks becomes very redundant. Because a lot of the times the creativity in my makeup looks personally comes from different color combinations, and when it's more of a monochromed theme, those combinations really aren't that different from each other, so therefore they all wind up looking a little bit similar on a surface level. So I went with 2. Let me know what you think. If you think that I should do 3 with these monochromatic palettes, let me know down below as well. I'm not saying that I'm always gonna do 3, but I could definitely try if you don't think it's boring. I was just afraid that it's gonna be boring for you guys. Before we get into it, please don't forget to subscribe, because I try really hard not to be boring, and the fact that I have to try shouldn't deter you. It definitely doesn't mean that I'm naturally boring and I have to try really hard not to be. Nope, doesn't mean that at all. Also, before we get into it, I would absolutely 100% appreciate it, to the core of my being, if you would leave a like on this video. Just takes 1 second of your time and it makes my whole entire day. And if that's not a return on investment, just numbers wise, I don't know what is. Oh, also, if you are confused because I'm wearing a different lip in the thumbnail than I am in this look right now, I did do 2 lip options with this look because I thought there was like 2 different ways that you could take it, and I wanted to show you both because I felt like both could be cute, and why not? So that's what I did. That's all I have to explain before we get into it. Let's just roll into the first look with the ColourPop Exes and Ohs palette. Okay, so this is what the palette looks like. Very on brand for me, I must say. This is like my aesthetic. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I've heard a few people on the internet saying that this appears to them to be more like a Valentine's Day palette, but personally I feel like the packaging, yeah, maybe I could see that, and the name, the theme, I get it, but the actual inside of the palette, this is really fall to me. This is very like the sweater. This is one of my favorite fall little sweatshirts. Like, it's a fall moment. I know it's not technically fall yet, but Starbucks is serving pumpkin spice lattes. Target has Halloween decorations starting to crop up. So for marketing purposes, it's already fall, and you know what, bitch, I'm sold. So to start this first look, I am going to grab my BH number 6 brush, and I'm gonna start by going into the shade Issues. Here it's a very light shade, but I'm essentially gonna use it just to set my crease area because I am having an especially creasy day on my lids. My primer just does not want to settle down. Put that through the general crease area. Like I said, this is really light, so it might not show up that much at all. This is going to give us a nice little base. On that same brush, I'm going to go into the shade Stay Golden, which am I missing something? Why is that called Stay Golden? It's freaking mauve. Am I missing something? I'm so confused. But I suppose the name doesn't matter, so I'm just going to put that through my crease on that same BH number 6 brush. I'm not going to blend it up quite as high as we brought the other shade, and just blend the edge of that with a clean brush so we don't add any more product. One of the reasons why I found this palette appealing was the shade Rookie, which is right up here, and on camera you might not be able to tell completely. I'm going to try to see if I can make it appear on camera. If we get nice and close and focus on it, But this appears to be a pinkish shade in person, but there's a blue reflect to it, which I thought was really fun and really unique. And what I wanted to do with this look is make that shade pop. And I think the best way to make that shade pop is going to be using a deeper background as a base. So before I go in with any more shades from this eyeshadow palette, I'm gonna put down a sticky, creamy base on my lid that is a bit darker and kind of works with those shades. So I'm gonna use the Urban Decay 24/7 pencil in the color Alkaline. I'm just gonna run that over my entire lid area and then just buff it in with a brush. And I'm not going to waste too much of my time making this look super even because it's really not meant for this type of application, and we're going to be going over it with dark shades anyway. But what I do want to do is make sure that I just soften the edge of that a bit before it dries down, just make our life a lot easier when it comes to blend the other shades over it, especially because this is a very long wearing product, so once it dries down it's going to be like there. I'm gonna pick up a MAC 221S brush. I'm gonna go into the matte shade Realness right here and just use that to blend and deepen the crease a bit, just to make it a smoother transition from that pencil into the crease color that we put down. Okay, I know I said I really wanted to feature the color Rookie, but we're gonna get to that in a second. I'm trying to like set Rookie up for the most success possible here, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna grab the color Reckless on a pencil brush, and I'm gonna put that on the outer and inner corners of where we put down that Urban Decay pencil. It's actually a very similar color to the Urban Decay pencil, but it's a little bit darker. I'm gonna leave the center portion open though, so that way it stays like, it's not sticky because it dries down, but it gives a little bit more grip to the shadow that we put underneath it. So leaving that without a powder over it will make that shimmer grab there a little bit better. And now on a NABLA Soft Dab and Smudge Brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Rookie. I don't think I'm gonna need to wet this, but I may, we'll see. And I'm just gonna dab that over the center portion. I'm gonna run over the edges of that with the smaller brush that we used earlier. And also run back through the crease with the deepest shade Reckless. Just what's left on that pencil brush is to deepen that back up again in case we lost some to the shimmers. I concealed underneath my eyes and powdered. I didn't put a ton of extra powder down because I don't find that ColourPop shadows usually give me a ton of fallout that I would need to do that. So I'm gonna move on to my lower waterline. I'm about to be a little bit extra with the liners that I'm using, but bear with me for a second. This is Dragon Smoke from the Urban Decay Game of Thrones collection. I am going to put that through my entire waterline. I'm also going to bring a little bit of that down underneath my lash line on the outer and inner corners. And in the center, I'm going to use Alkaline just like I did at the top. And I'm going to smudge all of those out with a clean pencil brush. On that same pencil brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of the color Reckless, and I'm going to put that on the outer portion, hooking that around the outside up into the top, and on the inner portion as well. And what I'd like to create here with this is a little bit of a spotlight effect. So I'm going to pick up a pencil brush again and go into the shade Rookie. And this time, because the spot that I'm putting it in is a little bit more concentrated, I want to make sure that I have a lot of impact with it. So I am going to wet it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. And I'm gonna pop that right in the center of the lower lash line. This next step might seem like a little bit of an odd, counterintuitive thing to do because the shade Rookie is like a rose petal, kind of a metallic shade, but it has a tiny hint of a blue shift in it, which is what makes it so interesting. I'm not sure how much of that picks up on camera, but in person, it's just like, I've never seen a shade like this before. That's really why I wanted to play with it. So I'm gonna add to that a little bit by using the color Winterfell Snow from the Urban Decay Game of Thrones collection, which is just kind of like a little bit like a wash of icy blue, and I think that'll just help to pick up on that whole combination a little bit more and also highlight the inner portion of that waterline. And one last little touch before I go and finish the other eye and add some lashes, pick up that pencil brush again, and I'm going to just use a little bit more of the shade Rookie on the inner corner, layering that over just the other shadows this time, just to brighten up that inner corner just a touch without making it too bright and losing that depth and smoky, sultry feel we've got going on. I popped on House of Lashes Stella Luxe lashes. I highlighted, added a little bit of blush, I filled in my moles, and we are ready to add a lip to this look. I don't know why I'm being so extra with like how many different products I'm using to create like really subtle things today. I don't know why I'm like this. I'm gonna use the ColourPop pencil in Oh Sis. I'm gonna fill the lips in with Dose of Colors, My Main. I'm gonna dab a little bit of the MILF liquid lipstick in Golden to yellow it up to like bring in those fall tones. I did something similar with like a red with the golden in the middle, but I want it to be a little bit more subtle today. But I do like the idea of using this to like look like a little bit like this. Does that make sense? And this is the first look. All right, for look number 2, I feel like I want to do a spotlight eye again. The last one was like a subtle version of a spotlight eye. This one I want to do like a big blown out kind of a grunge version of a spotlight eye. So I'm going to go into the shade Fortunate right here on my BH number 6. I'm going to start by putting that in the crease area, but I'm only going to concentrate that in the outer part and the inner part. I'm going to stay with that shade Fortunate. I'm just going to bring it down toward the lash line a little bit and pack it on a little bit heavier. I'm gonna deepen that up with the darker shades, but doing it gradually will make it easier to get like a gradient kind of thing going on. On a NABLA small pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Reckless. I'm gonna use that on the outer corner and bring that from the lash line up to the crease. And on the inner corner, I'm gonna do the same and just blend those two shades together with the brush we used previously. Next, on a Real Technique shading brush, I'm going to go into the shade Easy Go, which is this reddish shade. This reminds me quite a bit of the red that's in the Jackie Aina ABH palette. I'm going to go ahead and wet that with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. And I'm going to put that on the empty portion that we still have on the lid. And I'm going to take a little bit more of that color on the NABLA pencil brush just to bring that up and make it a bit more of a pointy Harlequin style spotlight shape. I'm going to highlight that more in the center as we go, but for now, that's where I'm going to start that. I wiped off that same brush, and next I'm going to go into the shade Smitten, which is kind of like a goldy, pinky reflex shade. On camera, it's looking so pink, and in person, it looks so gold. That's bizarre. I'm not gonna wet that this time because I don't want it to be quite as intense. I'm just kind of using it to highlight the red. And on this smaller, more flat detailing brush, I'm gonna go into the shade 20 something. This one I am going to wet with a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm gonna put that right in the center to really highlight that. And that part I'm bringing up way higher than the crease, up into where I brought up that original red shade just a little bit farther than it seemed like it needed to be to create that spotlight Harlequin effect. And now that that color's there, it starts to make a lot more sense. Now that we have that shape down, I want to add a little bit of glitter to the center, but there is no actual glitter in this palette, so I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to pick up the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Gel in the color Midnight Cowboy. I'm going to pop that right in the center of the lid and bring it all the way up. I'm using the brush that comes in the glitter, and then for the lower part where I want it to be a little bit more dispersed, I'm just going to tap over it with my finger to blend it out. Glitter makes everything better. Concealed underneath my eyes and added some powder, and now we're going to move on to the lower lash line. The waterline, again, I'm going to use 2 pencils. I'm going to use the Urban Decay Alkaline Pencil again for the outside portions. In the center, I'm going to use Lannister Gold. So for the lower lash line, we're gonna go and blow out the bottom lash line in the same pattern as we did on the top. So I'm gonna start with the color Reckless on a pencil brush. I'm gonna go on the outside portion and start packing that down. I'm gonna bring it pretty low because I want this to be kind of like a blown out, grungy, smoky spotlight harlequin type of a deal. Always going around the outside and making sure I connect it with the top. For a look like this, I like to take a really dark matte shade and really deepen up the inner corner portion. I like the way that looks, but every time I do a look like this, I always have people say that when they do it on themselves, they don't like that. If that's the way you feel, you can totally tweak it to be something that's a little bit more comfortable for you to wear. So if you don't like a dark inner corner on yourself, you can either skip this color on the inner corner completely and put something else, or you can put it down and then use a different reflective shade over the top to brighten it up a little bit. Personally, I don't mind the dark inner corner because I think it adds to like that grungy feel, but I totally get why some people don't like it. So that's a little tweak that you can do. Because we have less space on the lower lash line, I'm going to skip some of the shades that we used on the top lid and just start putting down those colors that give us a harlequin effect. So I'm gonna go right into 20 something on that little detail brush. I'm just gonna put that brush right under my lower lashes and then start bringing the shade down. And then on that same brush, I'm gonna go into a little bit of the shade Easy Go that we used on the top lid and use that just to blend into the other shades. That way we have some of the same colors going on as the top lid, but we haven't taken away from that little tiny spotlight that we can fit on the lower lash line. And just like on the top, I'm gonna add a little bit of glitter to the center. And to finish off this look, I'm obviously going to add regular mascara and lashes, but on the bottom, to continue that line of shininess we have going down the center, I'm actually going to take a gold liquid liner. This is Wonder Swipe from Rimmel London. I don't know what the shade name is, but it's the gold one. I'm just gonna take that and run that over my lower lashes as mascara just in the center part, and then I'll put regular mascara on my other lashes. This just kind of keeps that brightness there. So with this eye look, I think you could go one of two ways. You could really lean into like this metallic wine red color, or you could pair this with like a beautiful mauve, matte, nude-ish, neutral-ish lip and make it a little bit more wearable. I personally can't really decide which one I want to do, so I'm going to show you both. For the more red metallic wine shade, I'm going to first line my lips with the MAC lip pencil in the color Auburn. And I'm going to go over that with this Smashbox Always On liquid lipstick in the color Vino Noir. So here's how it looks with a dark metallic vampy red. In retrospect, I think I would have gone back and used a deeper lip liner shade because that one was a little bit more red, but it all worked out in the end. For the more mauve nude version of this look, I'm going to use the NABLA lip liner in the shade Melrose and fill that with the Fenty Senna lip paint in the color Uncuffed. And this is how it looks with the more matte mauve lip. Okay, so now that we did the two looks, my thoughts on the palette. First of all, let's talk about the way it looks and the packaging. I think it's stunning. I love this aesthetic. It's got a lot of things in it that speak directly to me and like my home decor style and like things that I gravitate toward in like clothing and phone cases. So they got my number on this one, okay? They sucked me in. Personally, burgundy is my favorite color of all time. Burgundy and teal, those are like my holy grails. The quality is exactly what I always expect from the ColourPop pressed palettes. They are always beautiful. I don't think I've ever gotten one that hasn't been really nice, and I have quite a few of them now. The quality on these is always fantastic, and the price point is usually between $12 and $16. This one I believe is $16, so the price point is really good as well. This one is their original cardboard packaging, which I know some people like better than the plastic. As far as the colors that are in here, I think they're absolutely stunning. I did really like both of the looks that I created today, but I think that there are a couple of things that they could have tweaked to make this palette a little bit more more versatile. For example, some of the matte shades I feel like are a bit redundant. For example, I feel like Hooky, Stay Golden, and Fortunate, like those three, they're all slightly different, and I understand that they totally have different undertones and stuff, but as far as how they play into different looks, they all serve around the same purpose, and I don't think it's necessary to have all three of them. And I feel like if you got a couple of more interesting shimmers in this palette, or even more interesting mattes, it would have made this a little bit more versatile so you could get more looks out of it. The shimmers are super, super pretty. 20 something is a little bit, I don't know, I feel like this is on the boring side. I have so many just regular gold champagne shadows that whenever I see one in a palette, even if it's something that I might use, it doesn't excite me and inspire me to do any specific looks with it necessarily. However, Rookie, stunning. If you have not seen this palette in person, I encourage you to go into Ulta and swatch it. I really don't think that Rookie and Smitten really get to shine, no pun intended, as much as they should. I really feel like seeing them in person was what got me to be like, ooh, these are like really, really something interesting and special. Easy Go is a beautiful metallic red shade. Like I said, it's not something we haven't seen before. So this is very similar to the red that was in the Jackie Aina palette. There is also a very similar sugar pill color like this. It's not anything groundbreaking, but it is a beautiful version of this type of a shadow. Overall, I really like this palette, and I feel like I'll probably get some use out of it as the fall rolls on and we continue doing more fall looks. As always, let me know your thoughts on this palette, your thoughts on the colors. Have you seen it in person? Did you buy it? What do you think? I want to know. Also, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite fall shades are, because I would love to know that as well. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you don't mind taking a quick second to do that, because it helps me a lot and I really appreciate it. And if you are new around here, go ahead and subscribe, because I would love to have you around for future videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these two looks today and my first impression of this palette. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next one.
Feels so good. You look great. Look at that. Oh, so good.
And I'm gonna go over that with the Smashbox, and I'm gonna go over that with the Smashbox liquid lipstick in the color, and I'm gonna go. All right, I popped on House of Lashes. Ooh. I gotta go downstairs. I gotta go downstairs and get it. I'm gonna dab a little bit. Because we have less space on the space. Shit. I wanna go downstairs.